The thing about Chelsea is life is never boring. Hey chaps, welcome back to properchels.tv, your one-stop Chelsea news channel. I'm your host, Logan Blue. And today we are jumping straight into some transfer news that has just crossed my desk, which is that Chelsea have finally signed Joao Felix from Atletico Madrid. Why? What? Yes, why? Is that the question you're asking? Because that's the question I'm asking. Why are we buying him? The answer is I have no idea. Now, that's not that Felix isn't a bad player, because he's a very good player. Like, he's got a lot of talent. But he is someone who is a luxury player in a team that requires functional players. For example, Chelsea need square pegs in square holes at the moment, and I don't think Felix fits anywhere. I guess he's going to play in the front three because he's certainly not playing in midfield. And look at who is in front of him in our roster so far as the front three is concerned. You've got Jackson, you've got Palmer, you've got Nkuku, Madueke. He may or may not be sold. And Mudryk. Maybe Mudryk isn't in front of him because he's been pretty ordinary. But either way, we are well stacked in all the wider attacking positions. And certainly we're well stacked in the 10 role, because that's kind of a Palmer or Nkuku role. And Felix can certainly do that. So I'm not sure he adds anything to us. We signed him, so that's great. I mean, I have no issue with us signing him, because he's a great player. Chelsea need great players, but ultimately the knock-on effect is that we've got another player in our squad, and we've got already maybe 12 or 14 players we have to shift in the next 10 days when the transfer window closes. And Chelsea are very good at that, to be fair, but how the hell we're going to move those players, I don't know. But either way, Felix is a player he's kind of like a Harlem Globetrotters type player. Whether you're old enough to remember who the Harlem Globetrotters were, but they were like a basketball team made up of semi-retired, retired basketball players who were the best when they were playing, and now they basically were doing exhibition games. We don't need exhibition players, right? We need players that fulfill a role at Chelsea, because we need to win games. And to do that, we first of all have to be a functional team before we're a flair team, right? And he's a flair player. We're the sort of team at the moment that just buys shiny new things. It's like the owners are like magpies. They just see a shiny thing and they want to collect it. And it's only later that they have to sit down and work out what they're going to do with it once they've got it. Because Felix has been given a 6+1 year deal, or 6+7 months deal. Why? He's 25, so that's going to make him 31 by the time his contract's up. Not that he'll last that long, because nobody ever lasts that long at Chelsea. I understand the longer contracts help amortize costs, but the Premier League changed the rules. You can only amortize the cost over 5 years. Okay, so if you had a £50 million player, you could only amortize him for the 5 years now, not 8 or 9 or whatever idiotic length of contract that Chelsea have been handing out. But okay, let's just quickly jump into an article that covers off the Felix story by the New York Times. So I'm just going to run you through this now. Okay. Chelsea have reached an agreement with Atletico Madrid for the permanent signing of Portugal forward Joao Felix. The 24-year-old has agreed personal terms on a 6-year contract, as I mentioned, with an optional 12 months. The Athletic reported last week that the Premier League club, blah, 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 we were open to buying him, yada, yada, all the things that went wrong with the Amarodion transfer. Joao Felix previously spent the second half of 2023 on loan, scoring 4 goals in 20 periods. Yeah, we know all that, blah, blah, move along. Before joining Barcelona, Felix extended his Atletico contract, which now runs until June 2029. He joined Atletico from Benfica in the summer of 2019 for 126 million euros. So in 2019, he was one of the most expensive players in the world, right? So, like I said, a child prodigy. He scored 34 goals in 131 matches for the Spanish side. So, he's kind of like a one goal every 4 games, which is, okay. But without the assists, that's nowhere near enough. Earlier on Monday, Felix was named in the Athletic traveling squad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but obviously the transfer has gone through now. Felix has been capped 41 times by Portugal and made 2 appearances for his country at the European Championship before returning to Athletic. So he is a very experienced player, and we have been crying out for experienced players. So, yes, he's going to bring a level of seniority to the team. But when you're a senior player and you're not going to get in the first team at Chelsea because the younger players are better, or if not better, are better suited to the role. I think that kind of seniority, wanes a little in people's eyes, right? Felix would become Chelsea's 9th summer signing following the arrivals of blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we know all of that. Gallagher, Chelsea and Athletic remain in discussion regarding a separate deal for Conor Gallagher. Obviously, he's gone the other way. And, we love Gallagher, but he was never getting the first team either way. So, he's done very well going to Athletic because he'll be a Simeone type player. If ever there was a Simeone type player, it was Gallagher, who will run and run and run and run. So, okay. So that's kind of the gist of it, is that we've signed him. We don't need him. He doesn't get in the first team. He boosts the squad. He's a flair player. He brings a lot to the table from a talent perspective. And I didn't mind him when he was here, to be honest, for the 6-month loan. I thought he was here in a very trying time. So I think it's very hard to judge somebody. So, who knows? I obviously, being a Chelsea fan, I wish him well. I hope he does amazingly for us. And I hope he scores some important goals for us. But like I said, ultimately, he seems to me like an Ozil was at Arsenal. Like a flair player who doesn't track back enough, who thinks he's better than he is, and he's good, but he's, just doesn't think he has to, track back and get stuck into tackles and, just do the defensive side of the game. Unfortunately, everybody needs to do the defensive side of the game, except maybe the number 9. And even he has to press, right? So anyway, that's all the news is fit to print, and quite a bit that isn't. And as always, God bless, look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.